Okay, y'all, welcome back to Movement Link. Let's go ahead and just start by standing. We'll get some arm swings going. We're just gonna rotate side to side. Also, we're gonna work on the upper back today. And so you are gonna need a foam roller for this. And as we go, we just try and give short little 10-minute follow-along videos that you can do to make significant progress if we're doing these types of things on a consistent basis. So you don't need these hour-plus long sessions. We just need to be consistent with putting ourselves through end ranges of motion. So what we see all the time is when we have shoulder issues, especially like shoulder impingement issues, we see the stem or the root of that problem being in our upper back's ability to extend and our upper back's ability to rotate. So today we're going to put that focus on working on extension, working on rotation. So just to put everything into context a little bit further is we need to lock everything down. So a mistake we see a lot, and you can see it probably better from the side, is people work on things just in these overextended, just globally dumped out positions, and we need to focus in on drawing the belly button in, keeping that rib cage down, extending tall, so we're actually mobilizing positions that we're going to use. So let's just start with your roller. We're going to start on your back, and that concept's going to come into play right away. So we're just going to start. You can go thumbs to the ground, so that is how we would twist into the ground in a push-up. So we're just going to go thumbs to the ground up over our head, and we're just going to start by rolling kind of up and down that spine just for a second, just trying to see, are there any areas in particular that you feel are tight and kind of grabby there. Maybe you get some back cracks, but really ultimately what we're going to do is we're going to find a spot from like mid to really high on the upper back, in a spot where we can put the hips up in the air, draw the belly button in, keep the rib cage down, and I'm going to extend back over here, and I'm going to try and focus in on only the vertebrae above the roller, getting pressure on them as I lower my hips to the ground. So notice I'm not just rounding my lower back or overextending my lower back. I'm staying nice and tight as I kind of work on trying to get the vertebrae to move up and over that roller. If you have something where you can reach back and grab onto it, you can anchor this position, and that works really well. But even without it, you can find those segments that just need a little bit of help, and we're just going to extend over it and just make sure we're trying to stay nice and tight and trying to make those segments work over it. You can hug yourself like this, and we can extend and kind of curl in, and we can do that with our arms. You can put your hands over your head, whatever you want to do, just kind of working on that extension. All right, so now we're going to shift over. We're going to work on rotation now. So I'm going to start facing y'all, but it's going to end up making me face away. But you're just going to take that roller and you're going to put it in between your knees. It's not really going to be doing anything except helping line up your hip by creating some space there. So you try and get your knees even with each other. That bottom hand is going to come on top, and it's just going to hold that in place. Now, just like everything before we start adding stuff in, check in on your position. So we should be 90 degrees at the hips, 90 degrees at the knees. That doesn't matter as much. It's mainly 90 degrees at the hips, and that's going to help block the lower back from rotating. We're going to draw in, we're going to extend up and control that position. Then we're going to reach out, and then with that hand, we're going to go palm up to the ceiling as we reach back. As we do this, we don't want that leg sliding with you, and we're just going to spend some time back here. Full range of motion of this position is your shoulder and your hand, being able to get to the ground very easily. So we're just going to go there, and then we're going to come back, and we're just going to get reps in here. Going back, breathing, exhaling all your air and relaxing as you kind of reach that hand out away from you. Coming back, check in, belly button in, extend up so we have that good posture. Really trying to make that upper back work. If you feel yourself hitting the end and holding your breath, I just caught myself doing that. Relax. Focus back in on your breathing. We'll get another rep in here. each time just trying to let yourself relax, get a little deeper. Taking a few breaths at those end ranges, trying to relax. All right, now we're gonna go opposite way. So same thing, we're just gonna go to the other side. So tuck those knees up. Belly button drawn in, get that chest up high, and let's extend back here. So if you get back super easily, check in on what's going on here and double check that those knees stay in a straight line. And it's real easy if I cheat a little bit to get back here. So make sure we're not cheating, but also if you've got full range of motion, you might be able to get here easily, which is good news. So now it's just a matter of we gotta check in on this every now and then to make sure that you can maintain that range of motion. So we're just kind of getting reps in here, paying attention to the knees, making sure they're not sliding, making sure you're making that upper back work. See if you feel a difference from side to side. Every time you come up here, draw in, get that spine organized so we're actually rotating in the positions we want to be able to rotate. Taking some big breaths in, letting them out, and you're over on that side. One more. All right, so now we're gonna ditch the foam roller. We're gonna come up and we're just gonna, let's see, figuring out the best way to show this one. We're just gonna get on all fours and then you're gonna hinge back and just put that butt over by the heels. And then you're gonna take, we'll go left hand first. We're gonna take that left hand and put it behind your head. Belly button drawn in, everything tight here. You're just gonna rotate up as high as possible and breathe. If that seems really easy and you're getting a lot of rotation, one, make sure we're not shifting around at the hips to artificially help us out. Make sure those hips stay perfectly still. And then also we can check in on the internal rotation of it. Lifting up, you just want to feel your spine rotating. And same thing, you can alternate back and forth or you can pick the one that's the hardest. We're just gonna rotate up, breathe. I like to kind of look as far that way as I can. And then when I reset and come back up, I see if I can find things that are even further. Last one. Then we'll go to the other side, same thing. Hand on your head or hand behind you. Make sure we're getting nice and set up first. And then get that rotation in. Always check in, don't let your hips shift with you. I think I let mine go a little bit there. So you really have to pay attention to that lower body and make sure that all of that focus goes on the back rotating. Coming down, just getting reps in here so you don't have to do them at the same pace as me. I like to get a couple breaths in at the top. I like to breathe in big and then let it out, and as I let it out, see if I can rotate even further. Maybe breathe into that position again. Let it out, see if you can get even further. One more. All right. Now we're just gonna do a little bit of thread the needle, so we'll come back on the quadruped position or tabletop, and we're gonna reach that right hand up as high as you can. Same thing, try not to let your hips shift. Reach it up as high as you can. Then you're gonna reach through, and then you can move that left hand even further, and we're just gonna reach through and put that shoulder on the ground. You can put your head on the ground. We're gonna use that left hand to push the opposite direction. Trying to feel kind of that rotation in our back. We're just gonna do this a few times. So then we're gonna reset, coming back up without your hip shifting. Lift as high as possible. Take a couple breaths, bring it back through, and use that ground to push. We'll go one more time. Lift that hand up as high as possible. And back through. Pushing on the ground, get that extra rotation there. All right, and we'll do the other side. So let's go left hand up in the air, hips stay flat. Then reach through. You can adjust that right hand up if you want, but I like to just not worry about where the hand is as long as I can push on the ground to help myself get a little more rotation. So left hand up. Left hand through. Pushing, getting that extra rotation from the ground. One more time, left hand up. Big breath in. Hold it. Let it out. Try and rotate more. Just put that hand through. Push on the ground. Then since we're in this position, we'll just finish it up real fast. Thumbs together, let's twist into the ground. We'll just do puppy pose. Stick your head down. Make sure your elbows stay nice and straight. You're really pushing into the ground. You can lean from side to side. But stay active, full hand in the ground. Trying to get those elbow pits up in the air like we would be twisting into the ground for a push-up. You can kind of shrug your shoulders and pull them down. Control that position. All right, and there we have it. So when we are thinking about shoulder issues, a lot of times the root cause of the shoulder issues are just the health of that upper back. We spend a lot of time on computers, looking at phones, doing things in these positions, and a big part of the shoulder blades being able to move around the back and rotate and get into the right positions for us to put our hands up over our head and do these other things. Huge part of that is your upper back's ability to extend up to create space, its ability to rotate. So before we start blaming things on the shoulder, we got to check in on the upper back and get any issues there resolved before we move on into or at the same time that we're working on shoulder issues. So upper back, check in. One of the number one leading indicators on when you're going to go into the nursing home is your ability to rotate through the spine, because as soon as you can't rotate far enough to wipe yourself, I know it's kind of gross, but that's when the people living around you decide it's time that somebody else takes care of you. So one of the main things you can do for you in your life is make sure that we're maintaining, or at least getting and then maintaining, our ability to extend up in a braced position and have that good, healthy rotation. Talk to y'all soon.